I was going to say good morning, but it's actually good afternoon. So thank you so much to the organizers for inviting us to speak today. Here are our forward-looking statements. Let me go back one. So I'm going to speak to you today about the RGX-314 program, and I was thinking as I looked at the agenda and I was kicking off the gene therapy section how far we had come. 6 years ago we presented at OIS, and we had a small company, about 80 people, just a few of us working in ophthalmology. And we presented in the middle of an inherited retinal disease section, and we were kind of sandwiched right in between. And our presentation probably fell a little flat. We presented our animal data and our phase 1 study design, and people weren't really excited about wet AMD gene therapy. Now we're 6 years later. RGX-314 is the largest AAV gene therapy program that's ever been in place. We've dosed more patients than any other gene therapy program, and that includes not only ophthalmology, but the whole field of medicine. So it's a really exciting program to work on and an exciting place to be. Regenxbio is a full-fledged gene therapy program. We have a rare side of the business too, but we're going to focus today on ophthalmology and 314. So last year we announced that we had a strategic partnership with AbbVie, and we are partnering with them on both the development as well as the globalization and commercialization of 314. So we're excited to be working together with them. And a little bit about 314. So 314 is an AAV8 gene therapy. It encodes for a gene that delivers a protein that is an anti-VEGF Fab, and we're hoping for a long-term anti-VEGF treatment for retinal diseases. We're looking at 2 routes of delivery, so subretinal as well as suprachoroidal in the office with the Clearside microinjector, and I'm going to go through all of our studies today in the next couple of minutes. And let's start with subretinal. So subretinal was our first route of administration, and that first phase 1 study that we presented 6 years ago is now complete. We expanded that to a phase 1/2A, and those patients have all gone into long-term follow-up. And then we moved forward into 2 pivotal studies, Atmosphere and Ascent, and those are ongoing. The phase 1/2A evaluated 5 doses in previously treated wet AMD patients, and we saw nice efficacy and safety across our doses, in particular the 3rd, 4th, and 5th dose, and you can see that data here. We saw vision improvement to stability to improvement depending on the patient cohort. We presented our lower dose in the pivotals, which is our cohort 3, out to 3 years now, and in that dose we saw a nice improvement in vision over time that's been maintained out to 3 years. And those patients needed few to no injections, with half of the patients being injection-free for years with that nice vision gain. So it has been exciting in a small study. We saw anatomic stability and a reduction in injections overall. And we had a lot of learnings from that phase 1/2A that helped us design the 2 pivotal studies. So Atmosphere and Ascent are currently enrolling. Atmosphere started first. It's got a monthly ranibizumab control arm. And then we've got Ascent that started more recently, and it's enrolling with an Eylea control arm, and we're on track for a BLA in 2024. Moving to the suprachoroidal side of our program, we have 2 studies, AV8, which is in wet AMD, and Altitude, which is in diabetic retinopathy. And we looked at 3 doses in AV8. We announced last week that we've just completed enrollment in that 3rd dose, cohort 5. And patients are also similar to our subretinal side of the program. They are previously treated wet AMD patients, so we're hoping to have stability in outcomes while reducing that treatment burden. And they're treated up front and then followed for a year, and they'll go into long-term follow-up just like all of our studies for a total of 5 years. We've presented initial efficacy data from the first 3 cohorts, and we're seeing nice vision stability as well as anatomic stability in a suprachoroidal in-office injection. And from a safety perspective, we didn't include prophylactic steroids in either of our suprachoroidal studies because we didn't observe any inflammation in our animal studies. And we've seen a few cases of inflammation in the Aviate study, intraocular inflammation, and that was treated with topical steroids and resolved. Diabetic retinopathy we've talked about today. It's of course a worldwide health problem as well as the leading cause of blindness in working age adults. And we're looking at AAV gene therapy here too with 314 and a single injection and then following patients out to a year. We announced a few months ago that we've completed dosing in these 3 cohorts, and Charlie Wyckoff will be presenting this data later this week on Friday at ASRS. Our primary endpoint is a 2-step improvement, and we've presented this data previously. So our first cohort is now out to 6 months, and we've seen some nice signal of effect with patients having a 2-step or greater improvement compared to control of about 47%. This is in line with what we see in our already approved on the market therapies, Lucentis and Eylea, and we see kind of in the same range at 6 months an effect on DRSS scores. From a safety perspective, we had 1 case of mild episcleritis, which was a asymptomatic, painless red eye that was treated with topical steroids as well and resolved. We didn't see any interocular inflammation in the early cohort of the Altitude study. So in conclusion, and I stayed right on time, I just wanted to say thanks again for having me present today. That was a lot to cover in 7 minutes, but we look forward to presenting more data, and thank you very much.